thank you for agreeing to doing this interview.
I'm delighted. Nice to see you again.
Yes, it was wonderful running into you, and I'm like, oh my God, she's somebody that I would love to interview.
That's
just
nice.
to keep your legacy alive, because I think you're such a great role model. And why I think that is because you're not one note. You're a very full human being. That
I guess I'm. You know, I've always loved everything I do, and yet, you know, most people in my business say, well, that's the #1 thing in the whole world for them. It never was for me. I love what I do and never would have wanted to do anything else. But I remember when I accepted the Academy Award, my husband said, I said, this is the best moment of my career. And my husband said, why didn't you say it's the best moment of your life? I said, because it wasn't the best moment of my life. Having my children and having my life the way it's been has been the best moment of my life.
Talk a little bit about that. How did you create a life that you could sit here and say that?
To tell you the truth, I didn't really create it. I mean, when people say, what did you do to make it happen? What did you do? Who did you talk to? Who did you meet? There wasn't anybody. I mean, the only 2 people that I could say were responsible for me being able to have the singing career that I had was Rodgers and Hammerstein, because I was on my way to college to become a veterinarian. I didn't care about singing. I could sing. I thought everybody could sing. It was a natural talent for me. I was the youngest member of the church choir at age 6, you know, in my little town of Smithton, Pennsylvania. And I loved it, and I performed in high school and did all of that, but I thought everybody could do that. And I wanted to be a vet because I was an only child, and I raised everything from, you know, skunks to birds to snakes to you name it. You know, it was the love of my life. But I was on my way to college to do that and stopped off in New York City with my parents, which was a summer holiday. And I knew a pianist that I'd worked with in Pittsburgh, and I called him, and he said, come on up, we'll sing a couple of tunes. And he said, listen, Rodgers and Hammerstein's having open auditions for anybody that wants to sing for them. They had 3 shows running on Broadway at that time.
What was your age at this time?
And I was 18. And their shows ran so long, they had to keep replacing chorus people every couple of weeks, you know. Now, I barely knew who they were. You know, I remembered seeing Oklahoma at the one big theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and loved the show, you know. But I wasn't sure who they were. I was very young and wasn't into that quite yet. And I said, oh, I couldn't do that. I've never sung. And he said, come on. Anyway, I waited in line with everybody else, got up and sang for the casting director. And he said, Miss Jones, what have you done? And I said, nothing. He said, could you wait a few moments? Mr. Rodgers happens to be across the street rehearsing his orchestra for Oklahoma, which was about to open at City Center and go out on another tour. And I said, well, I guess so, you know. I wasn't sure what I was doing and why I was there. Well, I sang for him, and he said, could you wait? I'm going to call Oscar Hammerstein at home, excuse me, and have him come and hear you. I said, well, I guess so. And my pianist said, Shirley, I hate to do this to you, but I have an airplane to catch. It was some sort of holiday weekend. And he said, I can't stay. And Roger said, never mind, we'll think of something. Well, I waited for about a half hour, and down the aisle comes this tall gentleman, and he said, Miss Jones, do you know the score of Oklahoma? I said, well, I might know some of the music, but I don't know the words. And of course, I'm talking to the lyricist, you understand? Mm-hmm. And he said, never mind, I happen to have a score here. I said, but Mr. Hammerstein, I have no one to play. My pianist had to leave. And Roger said, we have the full City Center Symphony across the street. Now, I'd never heard a symphony, seen a symphony, let alone sing with one. They took me across the street, I held the score in front of my face, and I sang, Oh, What a Beautiful Morning, Oklahoma, and people will say we're in love with the City Center Symphony. And 3 weeks later, I was in my first Broadway show, South Pacific.